Come on, somebody. It is baseball season.
Let's go.
Happening, y'all. It is happening. Welcome back to Caleb and Caldwell. I'm Caldwell. He's Caleb. Episode 7. We're here. And the day has arrived. You guys have already seen the opening day as this video is dropped on YouTube. MLB is back. Caleb, how are you feeling?
I'm so excited. Baseball's my sport. Sports are back. No fans, but man, I'm so ready. If you heard my hot take, it's a little bit of a last week. It's a little bit of a weird season as a fan, but I just can't wait to be watching professional sports finally. So I'm ready.
There's something beautiful about seeing those baseball highlights again. It's weird with no fans, like you said, but we're back. We're back. In today's episode, we're changing it up a little bit. Caleb's got the Padres jersey on. I got the Cardinals t-shirt on. We're ready to go. We're talking about the top 5 teams in the MLB going into this season in High Five. We'll start out with that. Then we're going to go into our brand new segment, Inside Corner, where you guys will hear all of the updates about the MLB from our perspectives, how the Cardinals and Padres are doing, and how the rest of the league is shaping out in this renewed and really weird season of 60 games and then the playoffs. And then, Caleb, it's time for Double Dipping.
Everyone's favorite. We got some hot takes for you, and that's how we're going to close it off. Just 3 segments, baseball focus, because baseball's back. We're ready. We hope you are. Let's do this.
We're back. It's exciting. Let's do this thing. It's time to talk all things sports from a Christ-centered, Bible-saturated perspective. Let's roll. Welcome to High Five, as we are giving our top 5 MLB teams heading into the season. As we said, it's a 60-game season, a little bit different. That doesn't mean baseball's changed at all. Baseball's still baseball, America's pastime, one of Caleb and I's favorite sports, if not our favorite sport. It's the best time of the year. And let's just get right into it, Caleb. There's a lot of great teams out there this year. If you think about it, in 60 games, anybody can get hot at any given moment. But there's obviously still a tier of top teams and not so hot teams. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 team is your defending World Series champions, the Washington Nationals.
Okay.
So the Nationals are my top 5 team because of one reason, mainly one reason, and that is their pitching. You look, they lost their big bat in the offseason in Rendon to the Angels. But I just got to give it to them. Obviously, we know they started last year really slow. I think they were 19-31 was what they were, and then came back to win the World Series. That team just gelled. Their bats picked them up, not just Rendon, just the hitters around him too. But what really puts them at number 5, I was kind of my honorable mention, probably my number 6 is the Braves. And they didn't make my top 5, but I was going between them. And the reason I go to the Nats is because they won the World Series on the backs of Max Scherzer, Strasburg, on the backs of their arms, and they still have their arms. And so it's really close between those two. But I think the Nationals are a little bit, I actually might give the edge to the Braves in the regular season. I'm not sure, how that division is going to play out, but that's a scary postseason team in the Nationals. When those guys hit the playoffs, it's all about pitching. So I'm going to give it to the Nats.
Well, and that tells you how close it was between those two teams, because my number 5 is the Braves. I think that they're a very great team just all around. They're hitting kind of opposite of the Nationals. Their hitting is what kind of puts them over the top of everybody else. But, I mean, they're pitching Mike Soroka, Max Fried, Mike Foltynewicz, which had kind of a going out party that wasn't so great, thanks to yours truly, the St. Louis Cardinals. Loved that Game 5 of the NLDS. But the Braves are still stacked. I mean, you got Acuna, Albies, Freddie Freeman, Marcell Ozuna, who we traded away. Matt Adams is also in their starting lineup. I mean, they got some great dudes coming back. Dansby Swanson. And here's the crazy thing to think about these top 5 teams. There's all designated hitters for both leagues. So that throws out the pitching or throws out the pitchers hitting and puts in this idea of everybody getting a chance to hit, including someone basically coming off your bench, not playing a position. So that throws a whole new element into it, especially when thinking about National League teams. So I think the Braves have a good chance to make a push again into the postseason.
Yeah, I could see that. I think the Braves could be a World Series team. I mean, they've got, it just depends on how they.
That's some big talk. Oh my goodness, we're dropping.
Yeah, which is funny. Maybe. Yeah, it was just maybe funny for me to say with them being outside of my top 5. But man, they've got the talent. They just talent-wise, they are loaded, big time.
Very loaded. Yeah, very loaded.
I gotta say though, my number 4 team is big time loaded too. Not a lot of postseason success recently, but my number 4 team is the Minnesota Twins.
Okay. Yeah.
These dudes rake.
They're scary. They're scary.
They're not. I mean, their staff is anchored by Jose Barrios, who's pretty good. They have a solid rotation, but it holds it down for their bats. Last year they had 5 guys with over 30 homers. Nelson Cruz at 41, Max Kepler, Miguel Sano, Eddie Rosario, Mitch Garver. Some of these guys you might not even think of big bats, but these dudes rake. Nelson Cruz, 1.031 OPS, and they picked up Josh Donaldson, who had like 35 home runs last year. So, this team, I think it's about time they turn the corner. They're going to need to step it up. Their pitching's going to need to step up in the postseason, but man, do they have weapons. And, they haven't had a lot of postseason success, like I said, but we'll see. They're my number 4 team.
They are right on the cusp of something special. I mean, you mentioned the Braves being a World Series team. Dude, the Twins get hot. It's a 60-game season and then the playoffs. Look out, dude. There's some great American League teams that we'll talk about in just a second, but look out. I mean, the Twins are hot. Unfortunately, I do have the Twins in my top 5. I actually have them higher on this team, but unfortunately, I still have to mention this team. Makes me want to punch a wall, which I might do right next to me.
Yeah.
But my number 4 team is the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
What do we even say? They're stacked, they're good, but they are cheaters. They're absolute cheaters. If you guys follow baseball or follow social media at all, the Royals being Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve in back-to-back at-bats, that is only the beginning. I was kind of disappointed because they barely even nicked Altuve and Bregman on both those, and I was just like, did they really get hit? There's going to be some that happen this year where it's like they're going to get drilled.
Did the Astros do anything to you personally?
They haven't done anything to me personally, and to be honest, I love someone like Jose Altuve, dude. Like I've seen the meme where it's like Jose Altuve is Pablo Sanchez growing up. If you guys played backyard baseball growing up, like that, like I love that meme. And Jose Altuve just seemed like a stand-up solid guy, and then this comes out, and it's like all the behind the scenes where you actually see him like, don't pull my jersey off, and we know why now. I lost so much respect. The Astros haven't done anything to me personally, which is what makes it so weird why I hate them so much. Because I hate them just as much as the next person.
Yeah.
They have to be in the top 5. They still have a lot of talent. It's not like they were a bunch of scrubs that all of a sudden became great players because they cheated. They were already good anyways. But, man, it's just there's a huge asterisk, no pun intended, to the Astros. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they won't make the same mistakes again. That'd be kind of like digging their own grave at that point if they decide to go back to those cheating ways. But they're a great team. Still got Verlander, Zach Greinke. I mean, you have to mention them. Unfortunately, you have to mention them. But yeah, I have no other words to say. Like everything in me is preventing me from like just raging on camera right now and just throwing something, because the Astros shouldn't have even been in the World Series. If you think about the 2 series where they were in, the Yankees could have beat them easily. And then in the World Series, unfortunately, the Dodgers could have beat them. So that would have been a lose-lose anyways. But, I mean.
No, that's fortunately. I mean, terrible person for saying it, but, they kept the Dodgers from winning it. So
I'm down with that. I hate that they had to cheat their way to it, but anything to keep the Dodgers from the World Series.
Yeah, and you know what? The Houston Astros are my number 3 team.
They're your number 3? Okay.
Yeah, I had to put respect. I don't know if respect is the word. but they have talent.
Yeah.
They have talent. I mean, I was looking at their run differential last year, and I mean, so the Yankees were second in the AL with plus 204 over the season. The Astros were plus 280. You know, I mean, they were the best team in the AL, definitely. Yes, they may have been helped by extracurricular means, but yeah.
That's a trash can.
What pitch is that? That was a whole lot of bangs.
Yeah. That was a whole lot of bangs. That was a knuckleball, actually. That's it.
No, so I mean, you said it. They lost Garrett Cole, yes, but they've got shoot, I'm blanking on that guy's name. The DH, Jordan Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
No, he came up and just raked. He hit like 330, 340. I don't know. So I mean, they've just got hitters. It doesn't, they hit on the road too. Yes, the splits weren't great in the postseason, but you can't deny, like I just said, they were good before all this started happening, and there's some real talent there. So they're my number 3 team.
Yeah. I think they'll go pretty far this year. We'll talk in the next segment just about like where we think they'll fall, but I think they'll go pretty far again. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. It really is. I have to talk about that at a later point, just what all unraveled there. I mean, we already kind of touched on it in a Sports and Scripture of just reconciliation and what that looks like. And frankly, there was just a lot of deceit going on, even in the asking for forgiveness. So we can move on from that. My number 3 is the Twins. I love the Twins. Growing up in the Midwest, I mean, I'm obviously a diehard Cardinals fan, but I loved watching the Twins play as well. I went to a Twins game when I used to be in the Dome. That was a lot of fun because they were playing the Yankees, and Derek Jeter hit a home run. And it was just like, it was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun. And they're great. They're a great team. I mean, dude, they got Josh Donaldson in the offseason. Like, if that wasn't like big enough to add on to everything else, Miguel Sano is like one of my new favorite home run hitters. Dude is just a chunky beast. Like, he's huge, but he just demolishes a baseball. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but it does because you see him swing and you're just like, that. I'm crying. I mean, that's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful swing. Jose Barrios, who you mentioned, he's a great pitcher. He's on my fantasy team. And let me tell you guys, quick side note. This is one of my best fantasy drafts ever. Stay tuned because I might be bringing that up on and on and on again. Caleb's shaking his head because he had a bad experience with it, which he doesn't have to touch on if he doesn't want to. I don't want him to rub salt in the wound. But Jose Barrios.
No, AJ did have a good draft. AJ definitely had a good draft.
Oh my goodness, it is so much fun. So, but I mean, you already mentioned the Twins a little bit, just what they have and what they have in front of them. So we'll see. I think that they have a chance to kind of finally get over the hump and get into the World Series even, but we'll see. So yeah. All right. So top 2 now. Top 2, I think we're gonna have the same teams, but I guess it's just a matter of where they fall. What do you got for me?
Yeah, no, I was about to say that same thing. We probably have the top 2, and this was a tough one, but I don't think it was too tough.
Okay.
What I mean is I'm relatively confident with my placing here because my number 2 is actually the LA Dodgers. The LA Dodgers are not my number 1
team. Me too,
team.
brother. Me too.
All right.
And you know why? You tell me why, because I'm hoping it's the same reason as you. But why are the Dodgers number 2 for you?
Because the postseason.
And because you cannot put them number 1 if you hate the Dodgers as much as we do. You can't do it. I couldn't in good conscience do that.
I thought you were going to talk about their postseason woes of the past, which is a big reason for me. Is like,
yeah.
Of course, the same could be said about the Yankees, I guess. So I don't know why. But, the Dodgers are absolutely loaded. They were the best team in the NL. It wasn't close, and then they grabbed the top 5 hitter in the league, and they've just inked him to 12 years, and thus there goes the Padres'
too much money
chance of ever winning an NL West title again. No, but I mean, Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts. That's an insane, as if they didn't have all these other guys around them. I'm not even going to go through all the names. Pitching is, I don't know how solid I am on their pitching because they lost their number 1, the guy who was their number 1 starter last year, Hyun-Jin Ryu. He went to the Blue Jays. And they lost a couple other guys, Rich Hill, Kenta Maeda. I believe they lost both of those guys.
Yep, lost both of them.
And so that's not to say they don't have a very solid rotation. Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, this guy Dustin May, who's been a stud since coming up. But I think it might be a step back from last year, actually.
Bold words.
Well, I mean, think about what Ryu did. I mean, he's a Cy Young candidate. Let's see. Yeah. He was amazing. Whereas his 2.32 ERA, went 14-5 with a 2.32. I mean, and they lose that. So I don't think David Price isn't going to play. Am I right on that this season?
He opted out.
Yeah, he opted out.
He said, peace.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you look at just looking at their numbers, I'm thinking their bullpen got a little bolstered, I think. They picked up a couple guys. But honestly, I think overall the pitching is a slight step back. Kenley Jansen has just been getting worse, which is fine with me.
It's great. It's
no,
unbelievable.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if he turned it around a little bit this year. But
don't do that.
And just
Taylor,
that with
Don't give him the satisfaction of getting better. Don't tell him.
The thing about Kenley Jansen
don't put that out there.
Kenley Jansen is actually in my favorite highlight of 2019 when he gave up a walk-off grand slam to Hunter Renfroe. I've watched that so many times. So there's a soft spot in my heart for Kenley Jansen. You know, he likes to throw those chest-high cutters with 2 strikes. So they're my number 2. They're the clear, far and away best team in the NL.
Yep.
Their offense is just terrifying, but I don't think they're as terrifying as the number 1. So I don't know if there's much more to say about them, but
nope. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Only reason I don't have them number 1 is because 1, I hate the Dodgers. 2, you already mentioned the postseason. 3, their bullpen. No one ever talks about their bullpen outside of Kenley Jansen, which I think needs to be mentioned a little bit because you have to have a bullpen to back you up. I mean, that has to be a part of your team's success. And unfortunately, fortunately for us, unfortunately for Dodgers fans, their bullpen is not usually the thing that's the staking point for them. They put a stake in the ground in. So we'll see. But yeah, you are absolutely right. They are not better than number 1. Number 1 is the New York Yankees. 100%. They have the one of, if not the best lineup. Caleb and I think we'll go back and forth on whether or not the Dodgers and Yankees have a better roster. But I mean, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez. You look at their pitching staff, who honestly, if they had pitched well last year, would have gone to the World Series and won the World Series. If not for one, the cheating Astros, into their pitching just honestly taking a step back a couple of games, and it burned them. James Paxton didn't play like himself in the playoffs, and it burned him. If those guys play well, like it's game, set, match. So, I mean, Aroldis Chapman is still their closer. So the Yankees are loaded, dude. Yankees are loaded. They play in a stadium where it's like it seems smaller than every other stadium too. So it just seems easier to hit home runs, which is like, is this actually a legitimately like regulation size field? Like, that's what it feels like sometimes.
Like the little over the right field porch.
Yeah, and it went like three rows into the third deck, and you're just like, what in the world's going on? But man, unbelievable. Like the Yankees they're stacked, dude. They're stacked.
Yeah, and did you mention Garrett Cole?
Oh, yeah, Garrett Cole, who's like, I don't know, just one of the top 5 aces in our game right now. Like
top 2.
Yeah. Top 2, yeah.
Yeah, they're I think the biggest question mark with the Yankees is the same thing every year. Can they stay healthy?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is if so, they're the number 1. If not, I'd put LA over them. But with a full roster, I think they've got to be number 1.
Yeah.
So.
They gotta stay healthy. I mean, you think about Giancarlo Stanton and what he was with the Marlins. No, he didn't really he became a superstar because of his home run hitting, but he played for the Marlins and they didn't ever do anything. Imagine if he returns to that on the Yankees. It's over, dude. It's game over. They're like immediately into the ALCS. So speaking of which, we're about to give some of our predictions, kind of give an overview into a brand new segment, which we hope you guys will enjoy. So that's kind of our top 5 teams heading into the season. Now let's transition into a preview of the entire season as we go into our new segment, Inside Corner.
All right, guys, welcome to Inside Corner. And this is our brand new MLB segment. We're going to be adding some of these segments as we get into pro sports. Amazing that I'm saying those words. As sports are coming back live. So first one up is baseball. Baseball is will have been yesterday by the time this comes out. And today, Friday, is when all the teams are going to begin playing. A 60-game season, no fans. It's going to be kind of crazy. What are your thoughts on the season? You excited for this?
I'm excited, man. It's unprecedented. It's more different than anything we've ever experienced. Think about the NBA lockdown back in the day. Think about the 93 strike of MLB and how crazy that was for those people back in the day. We're living in an unprecedented time where a virus has shut down sports. So who knows what it'll look like coming back, but all we know
it's crazy.
Is that it's back.
Yeah, I've seen this couple of the just random, it was the first time baseball wasn't played or pro baseball wasn't played in the U.S. In the month of April since like 1870 something, or just some ridiculous. It's the first time the Cubs.
Don't do that to my heart, man. That's
it's the first time the Cubs and Braves haven't played each other since in 100 years. It's just some crazy stuff like that. So it's definitely unprecedented. I'm just gonna kind of give a little intro for those of you maybe that don't know. I'll kind of detail what the differences are this season, and kind of what it's gonna look like. And then we'll talk about how that affects the teams and kind of what the season will be all about. But first of all, no fans. That's pretty big. There's going to be no fans as far as we can tell. Maybe down the road they'd let something happen. I don't know. But as of now, it's no fans. They're pumping in crowd noise. They've got MLB The Show crowd noise going. I don't know if you've seen. They have actually sound engineers with like 75 different crowd reactions. And so they have
That's awesome.
I don't know if you've been watching this. The games, kind of the scrimmage games leading up, but it's funny with like late crowd reactions. Like the home run will like go over the wall and then they'll like cheer like it's funny. And AJ, I don't know if you saw this, but there's actually I think through the MLB at that app, there's a way you can send in like cheers and boos that will actually be reflected in the stadium.
No way.
Yeah,
dude.
So you look into that.
That's incredible. That's
incredible. You can you can send in a bunch of cheers for I don't know. It's kind of bizarre. Yeah. So first of all, no fans. Second of all, 60-game season. So that's pretty straightforward. It's going to be. We'll talk about maybe how that impacts the actual games, but it's just going to be 60 games. That's just a couple months. So that'll be short. One new rule. This was already implemented before the whole COVID thing. This is already set up. This is the first year it's going to be implemented. And that is 3 batter minimum for relievers. That's brand new. In 2020, is no more 1-out relievers. The lefty specialist is kind of dying a little bit. So every reliever has to face at least 3 batters. I don't know what all the details of that will be. If a pitcher gets injured and faking injuries, and there's ways you might try and get around that. But so there will certainly be measures there, but. That's a new rule, 3 batter minimum. And something interesting about that then is, like I said, I mean, it's the specialty pitchers, like the lefty sidewinder. It makes it a lot harder for those guys because now you have to there's much more imperative to have more even splits, right to left. Like if you are really good against lefties but righties crush you, that rule is really tough for you because all of a sudden it's not going to be often you're going to be facing 3 lefties in a row, and so a manager's not going to want to bring you in if you have one guy to get out, but then the next 2 guys are right-handed and you're terrible against righties. So it kind of you need to be more versatile. The relievers, bullpens need to be more versatile. So a couple other things then. Universal DH. What are your thoughts on this? Because this has been something that's been thrown around. Is this something you want? Or are you
I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. I mean, National League fans like me have been waiting for that for years. I love the hashtag pitchers who rake. That's one of my favorite things to see on social media is like Adam Wainwright crushing a home run or, something like that. But, dude, I'm rejoicing that the DH has finally made its way to NL. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Think about our pitching staff, think about the Cardinals rotation specifically, think about rotations in general in National League. They'll be able to lock in more, I think, focus a little bit more on their pitching because they won't have to worry about hitting. the guys who come off the bench, like they're going to be like no-name guys who just become huge players, or guys that like have had to sit the bench because they're not as good as the next guy in the field, but they can swing the bat better. I mean, I think about a Marcelo Ozuna, who's now on the Braves. I've disowned him. Disowned him.
Wow.
But I mean, I'm sick and tired of him because he was a terrible fielder, and he had the sleeve on his arm. Oh, I can't throw. By the way, I've seen YouTube highlights where it's like compilation of outfielders like throwing, and it's like 3 highlights of Marcelo Ozuna with the Marlins.
Is
and I want to throw my phone. I'm like, what the heck happened to you? Like, you're hosing dudes from like 250 feet, and all of a sudden you're like throwing a ball like you're a sissy in kickball. Like, what has happened to you? But like a guy like him, who is a terrible fielder, but was one of our best hitters. Like, he was the guy we went to in the playoffs. Now you have that as your DH. So I think it's a really great thing it's coming. But, dude, blessings and praise for the DH finally making its way to the NL.
Yeah, I'm a little less that way. I was actually
really? Okay.
I've warmed up to it. For a while I was like, keep the DH out of the NL, pure baseball, bunting, that sort of thing. Like, I liked that.
Yeah.
And the fact that every single defensive player hit, I mean, I just like that. Yeah. But good points too of like hitters that you'd want to see hit just sitting on the bench because the pitcher's hitting. So I'm a little bit more for it. I just think it's exciting. Just watching a game too, and knowing that, when you don't have the DH, I'm always thinking like, oh shoot, pitcher's going to be up this inning. It's kind of like a discounted inning, right. It's one automatic out basically.
Yeah.
So it's kind of to not have that, but like you just keep going through hitters and hitters, I do like that. So I've warmed up to it, but
yeah. Well, I think one more point on that. One thing I will miss about it is when your pitcher's on deck and he's like in the 6th or 7th inning, and it's like the drama of like, should he hit or should he not? Because if you take him out, you have to put in a pinch hitter and find a new pitcher. I'm going to miss that, like the drama behind all of that. But dude, at the same time, I think there's going to be a whole new set of drama where it's like you're hearing it through the pipeline, or you're seeing it like live tweet, like he just finished, or like they just took him out, or like the announcers are saying like he's warming up in the bullpen, and you don't see him on the on-deck circle, but you see like when your favorite reliever's warming up and no one's having to hit or pinch hit or anything. I think that'll be a lot of fun, but it'll be interesting. I'm definitely going in very optimistic about the DH experience, but I could be sitting here 20 games later and just be like, this is terrible. Why did they do this? What have they done?
It definitely takes away the strategy a little bit. I mean, not takes it away, but it just diminishes, like you were saying, kind of the whole when do you take your pitcher out, different things like that, double switches. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think we all know it's going there eventually. Eventually it'll all be DH, and that's fine. I was more against it than I am now. So a couple other rules then. Another big one, runner on second base to start extra innings.
Yes, I've heard about that. I love this. Yeah.
This season only. What are your thoughts on that? So basically what happens, just to be clear, is when the 10th inning comes around, whoever was the last out in the 9th inning, he goes out to second base. Mm-hmm. And then basically scoring-wise, it's treated as if he got on an error. So if the pitcher gives up a single and he scores, it's not an earned run. Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts? I think of it more kind of – it's like a shootout, or more kind of like the college football thing from the 25-yard line. Well,
I think when you have an improvised season, I think you have to throw in a bunch of, like, different curveballs, no pun intended, but, like, you have to throw in a bunch of different things. Like, and I think that's a huge, like, plus to the drama side of baseball. I've been playing Situation with my brother and just playing video games this week. Dude, it's intense. Like, I'm batting the bottom of the 9th inning, and he has to get 3 outs, and I have to score, like, 2 or 3 runs or something. And it's like, I already got to do him in scoring position. Do I have him steal third and bunt? Like, all this different stuff. It's crazy because here's the other thing. You mentioned the last out of the previous inning. Who was the last out? Was it one of your slow guys? Was it a guy who's usually a home run hitter? And if so, since he's not one of the fastest on the bases, do you pinch run for him and take him out of the game? Like, there's all these different things that, like, play into it.
The third.
But, dude, I just love the aspect and the thinking of, like, bottom of the 9th inning, like, you can't win the game. You're just like, oh. And then it's like, oh, my gosh, they're going to have a person on second base. And you're just like, who's coming in? What fielding are we doing? Like, what shifts are going to be on? Like, all this different stuff. and it adds a whole new level where I think the regular season will take on more of a postseason like format and feel to it like the entire year. And we'll talk about it in just a second, but just the 60 game aspect for me as a fan is going to be like every single game counts. Every single one counts. Everyone is going in with eyes wide open. And they're just like, we can get hot and we can go to the postseason. Where do you see that in like any other sport, in any other season? You know? Like we think about the NFL, that's the only one, but even the NFL, we're like, there'll be baseball. If there's a guy or two who gets hot in baseball, dude, it could be game
Baseball's
over.
all about streaks,
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think it'll add a whole bunch of drama. How are you feeling about it? Just with the new rule and everything.
I'll talk about it a little bit. This is one I've been against, actually. Now I can see it, and I warmed up to it again. I warmed up to it a little bit, but I'm still against it. Meaning, and I do think that strategy is interesting. Just kind of all the different dynamics there, and the whole fact of like, so obviously a lot more scoring in the postseason or in extra innings. But even thinking about too, so you think, okay, if that guy gets home, but just the chaos that's caused by starting with a guy on second base. All of a sudden, the pitcher has a guy to worry about. A passed ball gets him to third. You know, if they try and cut the guy they try and throw over and get the guy, then the other guy gets first. It just causes chaos. You know, you can't pitch from the windup. Not that many relievers are doing that anyways. But it just kind of throws a wrinkle in things, which I think is neat. However, overall, I kind of hate it. And I'm scared that they're going to continue it after the 2020 season.
Yeah.
What I loved about extra innings is the fact that, like, buckle up, we're just playing more baseball. It's just bonus baseball. Whereas it feels kind of like a shootout and you think it's going to end in one inning. And again, I see how a lot of people would like that, but I just love the fact of, like, we're playing the 10th inning and we're starting fresh again. You know, a guy could just hit a solo shot or, and just kind of like, we're going, and then a guy gets to first and the drama of that. And just like, it's just normal baseball again. It's not, this thing's probably going to be over in 1 or 2 innings because we're just one hit away from score. So I see both sides a little bit, but I definitely don't want this to be a normal thing.
Yeah.
Especially in postseason. And I think that is the case. I believe in postseason they're taking that rule away for 2020. Because I just prefer I think it's more, there's more drama of just having starting fresh, each inning fresh. So
100%. The people that knock baseball are just like, the people that hate baseball their argument is always, well, baseball's too slow or it takes forever. And my response to that is like, well, that's kind of the point. Like when you have a drama build up, like it's supposed to take that long. Like the camera zooming in on a pitcher's face in the playoffs is one of the most like terrifying things if you know it's your pitcher. Because you're just like, you can see the look on his face and you can either tell that he's terrified or just like, this is my guy. I'm riding or dying with this guy.
Yeah.
That gets taken away in every other sport to some extent. I mean, what camera angles, what slow pace, what drama is given in that point where a pitcher can hold a ball forever and then pitch it to either strike out a guy or to lose the game. Like, that's baseball.
Think about huge at-bats, like bases loaded to outs, the guy just keeps falling it off, and every pitch you're just hanging on the edge of your seat. I mean, that's what it is. And,
dude,
I like that too.
You got me pumped for the season now. My goodness.
You think about pitchers' duels too, like say a 1-1 game or a 0-0 game, that going into extra innings, that's where I love, like, hey, buckle up, we got bonus baseball. Yeah. Like, it's not like, oh, we're switching it all up and now we're just going to do a shootout. That's kind of where I'm coming from. So, again, I don't absolutely hate it. I kind of do absolutely hate it. But, I can see a good side to it. So.
I think it fits the improvised season, but I agree. If it continues after this season, there should be outrage.
And that's what I think. That's what I'm scared about, is that all these things are going to continue after the season. So one or two more big things. 30-man rosters. So not 25, they're bumping up to 30 for the whole season. And so, that adds a little bit more. You can have a little bit deeper bullpen. Oh, that reminds me. The other thing about the runner on second is another bonus I see to it is it helps cut down on like the 16-inning games where you absolutely waste your entire staff for the next. So I do see the value of that is you don't just like waste your staff for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'll help cut down those long games. But so 30-man rosters, you got, an extra couple guys on the bench, an extra couple guys in the bullpen. And so I love it. Like you said, I mean, with more guys in the bullpen, like we're getting down to September baseball from the beginning. Where it feels like we're in the final stretch right away. And so pitchers are going to be, it's going to be balanced because pitchers can go deeper because they don't have to worry about long-term, of course, of a 160-game season pitch count. But at the same time, we're going to have deep bullpens so we can bring guys in when we need. It's going to be intense baseball from the gate. So
yeah. I'm pumped, dude. The ideas of bullpens and extra guys and dude, just baseball. Like we miss baseball. We miss the aspects of just sports that make sports great. And fans or no fans, like we're gonna be watching regardless. And we're excited to support our teams and just be in for the long haul. I mean, this is a crazy time for our world, and sports like baseball or basketball or just sports that people have missed might save this year for us. I think the Lord's been teaching us a lot of different things just from a spiritual standpoint. But when we talk about like this, the human aspect of all of it, like there's an aspect of sports that like meets that need for us and meets that kind of desire that we have for like enjoyment of things, like the things that the Lord has given us. And I think there's just a great opportunity to just enjoy that in a brand new way where it's like, we got this for only 2.5 months or 3 months if you had in the playoffs, and then it's gone. And it's like, let's soak up all of this and just enjoy this thing that ultimately, just go back all the way to episode 1, ultimately, this is ultimately a gift from God. And so we just enjoy it in a brand new way. So,
exactly. No, really excited. It's a great opportunity for us to be thankful of. It's just a blessing from the Lord. It's a gift that He's given us, just enjoyment of sports and to be able to have fun. So we should not take it for granted. Just all the little things, because they're gifts from above.
100%.
One other thing I wanted to bring up too, and this is just something I saw tonight, but apparently the MLB and the Players Association is in last-second negotiations to try to expand the playoffs to 16 teams. I'm on the hate side of this. No, please don't.
Yeah.
I don't, especially because this is another one of those things that I see it as becoming, we'll do it for 2020, expand to 16 teams. And then 2 years later, it's that, and especially if to have a long season with that many teams. I mean, I don't want it to become like NBA where suddenly teams with losing records are going to the playoffs. So I want to keep, I think it's really good how it is. 16 is a whole lot of teams. That's more than half the teams.
Yeah.
So I hate that. Again, and that it's kind of maybe funny for me to say because that's the Padres. I'm a Padres fan, and obviously, and that should benefit us, being kind of a team that would need that help. I still don't like it. I still, that's adding a whole lot of teams and kind of cheapening just getting into the playoffs, and the whole regular season feels a little bit less like that race. Again, for the bottom teams it does, but just think about the top teams. It's like, let's just get it over with already.
Yeah.
So, I don't like it. I'd love to be in the postseason for me personally. It's been since 2006 when I was at the ripe age of 7 years old.
That's a tough scene, bro. It's a real tough scene.
Yeah, our last winning season was in 2010 when I was 11.
Wow.
So, yeah. That was before I ever knew you, by the way, AJ. To keep that in perspective, I haven't not known you and had a winning season. So, I still hate that. I don't want, just in general, expansion of playoffs. They do it for money. More playoff games is more money, more TV.
Yeah.
But I, as a fan, hate it across all sports. So, mark me down as against that one. It might happen.
Me too. Mark me down.
All right. Speaking of playoffs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but should we get into some predictions here? We might make this a little extended segment for you guys, so we apologize this episode a little bit longer. But I mean, Caleb and I can't stop talking about the fact that a sport is back, everybody. Like, we're gonna continue to cycle that through. Machado, Carpenter here. We're both wearing our number 13 guys.
Number 13, yeah, there we go.
This is it, y'all. This is what we have done with this podcast. This is what we are are excited to do, and that is talk sports when they're actually happening. So we have appreciate you guys bearing with us for the past 6-7 episodes of the last month of just bearing with us. Sports are coming back. Sports are coming back. We promise. And now we're just let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So let's get into a little bit of predictions, Caleb. And again, guys, we'll make this a little bit longer of a segment for you guys. So stay tuned as Caleb and I kind of give our thoughts on this. But let's go through the American League. Let's go through a division or a conference, a league that we don't really have any connections to. At the same time, there's a couple teams that I enjoy seeing do well, a couple teams that I don't want to do well, and yet will do well. So it's a plethora of a bunch of different things. But let's go through our 3 divisions within the American League. So you got the AL East, the AL West, and the AL Central. So give me those, Caleb, and then give me your AL wildcard teams as well. I'll give mine. We'll kind of have a discussion. But we're just going right into it. We're giving our playoff predictions. So hit me with it.
Yeah. Yankees are winning the AL East. That's obvious. Actually, my 3 division winners were all in my top 5, and I think they're easily going to take their division. So Yankees, Twins, and Houston.
Okay.
That's going to be it. Yeah.
So I guess the wild card is really the bigger discussion then. Who do you have kind of inching their way in with 60 games? Who's going to get hot and push for a wild card spot?
Yeah, you know what? It's the same as last year. I got Tampa Bay and Oakland.
Really? Okay.
I think though they're Tampa Bay's pitching, man. I don't know. The challengers I could see it'd be interesting to see if the Angels could do something.
Okay.
They've kind of had some injuries and different things, and we need Trout in the playoffs. So I could see them.
Please.
I could see them pushing. That now they have Rendon. That Trout Rendon is maybe the best one combo in baseball. That's scary. Ohtani's going to be back. Their pitching's always kind of been their downfall, I think. But, we'll see. And then Cleveland as well could push. I don't really see – there are other teams, obviously, that could. But I think it's going to be between those 4 teams, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Oakland, and L.A. Maybe Texas or Boston. But, wow. I know maybe that's giving a lot to the Angels. But I think they could have a good year. But my wild card teams are Tampa Bay and Oakland. I think Oakland's got a great team. I know you like Oakland.
Love them A's, baby.
The left side of their infield is pretty nice. Their whole team. They've got some. Maybe Chris Davis will hit 247 again, and the world will be back in order.
How crazy would that be, man? Just bring some order back to 2020. That's interesting with your wild card, man. I'm kind of stunned that you didn't bring up a team that I think is one of the best American League teams outside of the division winners. And that's the Chicago White Sox. I think the Chicago White Sox are going to make some noise this year, man. 60 games. And so I hear you with the Rays. I was going through the Rays pitching staff, and I was like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
and I saw their batting lineup, dude. I saw their batting lineup, and I was like, they've lost a couple pieces. They still have some good guys. You got Yi-Man Choi, who's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Kevin Kiermaier is a great guy. Yandy Diaz, who came on last year in the wild card game.
Austin Meadows. The biggest steal of all time for the Pirates. What was that trade? Chris Archer for Austin Meadows, Tyler Glass. I don't know. It was a ridiculous steal.
It was a great steal. But so I compared that, and I was like, I wonder what the White Sox – and I look at the White Sox. And now, yes, their pitching staff isn't as great as the Rays, but, dude, their batting order is stacked. They're stacked, dude. Let me see if I can pull this up and find this. The White Sox are loaded this year, dude. So, first of all, as I'm trying to find this, Tim Anderson is one of the best personalities in MLB this season. The dude is just a straight-up boss. Every time he hits a home run, he throws his bat like it's a javelin. And he does not care. Yeah, he's not going to really get in your face about it, which I appreciate. So he kind of has the nice balance of I know that I'm good at this sport, but I'm not going to trash talk and all this different stuff. But dude, you got Tim Anderson, Yohan Moncada, who's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. He's borderline on like a consistent great player in the league. Jose Abreu, who's been a consistent hitter in the league. Yasmani Grandal. They traded for Yasmani Grandal in the offseason from the Brewers. Like, that was a steal of a trade. Like, steal of a trade.
Who did they give up for him? I don't remember.
I don't even remember. I'd have to look. Oh, I think Avisail Garcia went to the Brewers.
Okay.
He was on the White Sox. Dude, Edwin Encarnacion. They also got him in a trade with
That's true.
with the Indians. I can't remember who it was. And then, dude, look at the bottom of this. Eloy Jimenez, who's basically like Yohan Moncada 2.0, where he's like literally half a season away from becoming like a bona fide superstar. Like, this guy can play baseball. And then Luis Robert, who I don't know if you've heard of. I just looked him up today. I was watching.
He's a prospect.
Yeah, on Rookie of the Year prospects. Dude can ball. Dude can ball. And these guys are all in the White Sox. So, again, their pitching staff isn't great. Lucas Giolito, though, is a case for Cy Young this year in the AL. The White Sox
who they picked up?
They really caught my eye.
I can see that, and they picked up Dallas Keuchel as well.
They did as well. He's kind of faded off a little bit, in my opinion. But dude, their batting order, I think, can carry him. Like, 60 games, like, you get hot, and you get Lucas Giolito. They got Gio Gonzalez, who's kind of like the veteran of the pitching staff. I don't know, man. Like, I could see the Rays absolutely, but it's insane.
They got my guy, my buddy Steve Cishek.
Steve Cishek. He's a great guy. We want to give him a shout as well. We love Steve Cishek.
Yeah. Also, Michael Kopech. Wasn't he? You know that name? He was there. He was like one of the top pitching prospects. Came in, and I think he just had Tommy John. I'm not sure his status. But he was supposed to be a stud. Starting pitcher. So that's kind of something to keep your eye on. I just don't believe in their pitching, and I don't know if I don't really see them putting it together this year. Now I should respect them more than I did, and I forgot they grabbed what's his face Encarnacion as well. That's true, but I don't know. I'm not sold on them. But I can see that. Are they your wild card team? Are they one of your
So that's my wild card game is the White Sox and the A's. That's why I've come into the wild card. Obviously, I love the A's. I mean, they're just a great team. Their announcers, their environment. Get a new stadium for crying out loud, Oakland though. That stadium's disgusting. But I love their team. Absolutely love their team. Marcus Semien, Matt Chapman. Who's their closer? Liam Hendricks. They got a great setup to go on another wild card run. So, but I mean, I think it's about time though that we actually get into our own domain a little bit. Kind of talk some National League, which is designated hitter reign now. We got designated hitters all over the place with this. Don't know if that'll play a bigger factor or not, but we shall see. So we're gonna get into that. So, Caleb, give me some of your thoughts on this ever-popular, ever-present, always, National League, full of some of the best teams in the league, in my opinion. What do you have for me? What do you got cooking over there for this postseason for the National League?
Number one seed in the NL is hands down the Dodgers.
Unfortunately.
They're the best team in the National League, arguably the best team in baseball. AJ and I both had them second. But there's an argument for them to be made number one. So they're taking the NL West, as they will continue to do and have been doing for my entire existence. So they're taking the NL West. The NL Central is going to none other than your St. Louis Cardinals.
Hey, atta baby. Atta boy. Proud of you.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. With the wild card, I'll get to that in a minute. The NL East is going to be Atlanta again, and that's how it was last year. So I'm predicting all the same NL division winners this year as last year. Just how it is. In terms of your wild card, This is where I'm actually a little unsure here. I want to say, okay, I think both wildcard teams are coming out of the NL East, Washington and the New York Mets.
Wow. Okay. Throws a little wrench in it. Okay.
So teams. Let me give yours, or you give yours, and then we'll talk more about the details.
Okay.
Those are my wildcard teams.
Well, mine's gonna throw a big wrench in it as well. So who was your NL East win? Did you have the Braves win the NL East?
Yeah, Braves win the NL East.
Yeah. So we have the same division winners.
Okay.
Braves, Cardinals, and Dodgers. I agree, Dodgers.
So across the board, we're the same. Yeah.
We're across the board in terms of division winners, which is kind of cool. The NL wild card is where it gets real interesting because Caleb, I have some news for you. Okay? Can you brace yourself for this? Your boy's about to get hot. Your boys are about to get hot.
Let's do it.
I have the San Diego Padres.
Let's do it.
As a wild card team. Okay? And again, I'll give my reasons why and kind of explain why a little bit. And then you brought up a good point with the NL Central that I'm actually like live reacting to my own standings. I'm changing one of my wild card teams right now. Okay, so I have a team written down in my notes and I'm changing it right now. It's gonna be the Padres and the Brewers. The Brewers are gonna be the other wild card team. And it was gonna be the Nationals. And so I literally went back and forth as we were talking about that, and I went, oh my gosh, the NL Central has so many good teams too. Yeah. So I'm changing that on the fly. I have the Padres and the Brewers. Your boy's about to get hot, but let me hear you kind of make a case for the Mets because the Mets are still kind of rebuilding. Would you agree?
Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. Well, let me talk about these other teams. Let me grab these guys. Where are my Mets? Where are my Mets at? Well, first of all, Jacob deGrom is going to have. I mean, I know you say you've got the number one pitcher in the NL.
Oh, he's coming! He's coming, everybody.
I mean, I can see it. Flaherty is yeah, but the thing is, the consistency from Jacob deGrom, man.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
This dude is. If I can grab his stats. Well, we don't even need the stats.
Hold on a second. Time out. Hold on.
Yeah.
I just need to make a statement real quick. Michael Wacha is on the New York Mets.
I don't even know. Is he?
He's in the starting rotation.
Wait,
I'm shook right now, dude. Michael Wacha is on the Mets? Okay. Well, the more you know, I guess. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's the Mets. The biggest thing for me is the Mets pitching. They've just seemed to be unlucky a little bit, and they really kind of heated up in the second half of the season. And I think just anchored by that rotation, deGrom, Syndergaard, Zach Wheeler, Steven Matz, Marcus Stroman.
That was it. They got Marcus Stroman, didn't they?
Yeah, and then Michael Wacha. I mean, I don't know exactly what their
that's insane.
I don't know exactly what their rotation is going to look like, but they are deep pitching.
Yeah.
And now I think their offense is a little underrated. I think that they're a better team than they came across last year. And we're kind of like one of those teams that everyone kind of makes fun of, but really they do have that talent. Obviously Pete Alonso hits 53 homers. Got Jeff McNeil, Todd Frazier. So they've really got a
wow.
I think they've got a pretty solid squad. J.D. Davis hit over 300 last year. Wilson Ramos is a pretty good catcher for it. So this was also kind of one of those. It's really driven by their pitching. So I think led by deGrom, they just need their offense to not be abysmal. And again, anything can happen. It's going to be a short season. I don't believe in the Phillies. I don't believe in the Cubs. And I'm just kind of. I think.
Stop believing in the Cubs.
I never have.
Real quick, just please, everyone, just get off of that. Just stop. 2016 happened. It's come and gone. The Cubs are garbage again. Just
another 100 years right now.
Another 100 years is going to go by. They are not that great.
The Cubs are one of my least favorite teams. I'm not even in the NL Central. I do not like the Cubs.
Oh my goodness. You're not even in the NL Central and you hate the Cubs. Imagine being in the NL Central.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Cincinnati, I think, could make a run. So some of the 4 teams. So I'm kind of giving 4 teams for the wild card chase. I did that in the AL. The 4 teams for my wild card chase in the NL is going to be Washington. I'm actually giving 5 teams. My bad. Washington, the Mets, Cincinnati. I mean, okay, Milwaukee's going to be in it, 6 teams, but I don't think they're going to make it. And then Arizona and San Diego as well. Yeah. I think Arizona will. And I want to say it's not my hot take, and I'm so glad you put them in there. But I think the Padres are going to make some noise this year.
Dude, I'm about to tell you how much noise they're going to make. You ready for this?
Now, I'll let you go at it in a second. I think when we've got remember the name Gore, Mackenzie Gore. Remember the name. If you are way into baseball, you already know who this is because this is maybe the top pitching prospect in baseball. This dude is amazing. Again, he's not played in the majors, but everything points to number 1 ace right now. He's also Luis Patino. He's in the top 20 MLB prospects right now. He's like kind of a shorter guy, kind of like Marcus Stroman type thing, where he throws gas and it's got this wicked slider. But as a starter, kind of a shorter right-handed starter. Those 2 guys, when they come up, they're going to dabble a little bit 2020. So I'm not ready to say we're definitely going to the playoffs. If it's a 16-team playoff, which is kind of a weird situation because I don't want that to happen, but if that does happen, we're going, I'm saying.
Yeah.
But left side anchored by Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., the one and only, absolute star, if he can stay healthy. And I just think around the board, Austin Hedges, everyone hates on him. Great, best defensive catcher in the league to anchor that staff. And, yes, don't argue with me about that.
Best defensive catcher in the league?
Yes, no doubt.
Why? Gosh, okay.
His hitting is abysmal, but his defense. And now we have that. Now we have that little hole in our lineup. But now we have the DH, and I'll be interested to hear about what you think DH-wise for Cardinals. But we've got probably Ty France to hit in the DH, and Josh Naylor picked up Tommy Pham, Trent Grisham. So we're gonna have some on-base guys. I think it's set. I mean, Eric Hosmer at first base, he's been a little bit underwhelming, but he can bounce back. He has the postseason experience. Chris Paddock's starting on opening day. I'm just throwing names at you. Dinelson Lamet is underrated. He's got that high K rate. Been a little bit wild, but reining it in. He's shown flashes of brilliance. Even just Luke Casey and Zach Davies to anchor the back. I think that's a decent 4-5. Throw in Garrett Richards. He'll be back to that Angels farm. I'm so excited. I can't stop.
Don't get him started. Don't get Caleb started. He's already here.
I'm ready to make a run at the playoffs. I'm sad it's in this season, but next season, look out. When we're coming out with Gore, Paddock, Patino, scary.
Hey,
we just need to ink Tatis to a long-term deal.
Hey, woo, man, you're making quite a case that kind of basically just made my case. I mean, why wait till next year, man? Y'all got the squad. Y'all got the team. Fernando Tatis Jr., one of the best shortstops in the league right now. Will Myers, Eric Hosmer. Hold your horses there a little bit. Tommy Pham. People need to put some respect on this man's name. Tommy Pham was this close. I'm literally putting my fingers so close together for listeners. He was so close to being a superstar on the Cardinals. Inches away, and we traded him away to the Rays. And he kind of regressed back instead of becoming the superstar in the Tampa Bay Rays. Tommy Pham was a stud. Tommy Pham is a stud. And I think that him being on the Padres is such a good fit for him. You put Eric Hosmer around him. You put a good pitching staff you already mentioned, Chris Paddock.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Paddock and Zach Davies you mentioned already a little bit. Zach Davies, who was on the Brewers, I believe, last year. I mean, you guys got – and then, by the way, Kirby Yates coming in as the closer, one of the best closers in the league.
No. Can you say that sentence one more time and take out the words "one of"?
No, I'm not ready to go there.
The best closer in the league.
I'm not ready to put the best on him yet. He's not there yet. He's getting close. But dude, I'm becoming like a fanboy for Caleb's Padres all of a sudden. I was thinking about it, dude. I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? They don't got to wait till next year. They got the team. They got the speed. They got the bats. Bring it on.
Think about the work ethic and leadership that Tommy Pham provides, that on base.
Mm-hmm.
Then to have guys like him and Hosmer in the clubhouse, and Manny, the guy bringing up Fernando Tatis, soon to be already the most exciting player in the league, and soon to be probably the best shortstop in the league. Top 5
He's
player.
making some bold statements. Let's get off the Padres before Caleb makes this about the Padres the rest of the podcast.
Well, and I want to say, what even was I going to say?
He's lost all train of thought. He's all caught up in the moment.
Yeah, no, it's going to be. We'll see. But this is one thing I was going to say. A little bit of the damper I put on it is, and this is something that we'll have to see how it plays out. But the Padres are cursed, man. Every single player. This is the damper on my season. I'm always optimistic. Every year I'm like, we're going to the playoffs. Every free agent we ever get or every trade we ever make, hitting-wise, the dude regresses. You look at every single guy, way back to Matt Kemp, Justin Upton, you look at previous years as to what they did in San Diego, they drop off. What does Manny Machado do? Does the same thing. What does Eric Hosmer do? Does the same thing. All these guys drop off. There's something about San Diego.
He's a runaway train now.
It's sad and it's painful. I'm ready for it to be over. I just got to
Somebody stop him! Somebody stop him quick! He's lost.
I don't know. I'm gonna leave and go cry. Well,
he's made it all about the Padres. No.
All that to say, I want Tommy Pham to break that streak, and I want us to get to the postseason. Yeah, I'm stopping. Done. Don't let me talk. You go.
I'm ready. I'm ready to rein him in and to crown him as a wild card team. But let's just put it out there right now, Caleb. Let's just go through our postseason predictions, beginning of the season. No pressure right now, subject to change. Let's do this. Let's kind of give our thoughts. We already have the same division winners, so it's just a matter of where we see them falling. ALDS, who you got coming out of the wild card?
Yeah, so this is interesting because I haven't done my postseason. I kind of have it in my head, but I have to figure this out on the spot a little bit. ALDS, so it'd be the number 1 seed would be the Yankees playing the worst seed, right? And this is based on the current playoffs,
the
not
wild
the
card
16th
winner.
seed.
Yeah,
and so they would play, I'd say Oakland. I'd say Tampa. I'd actually probably put Tampa Bay over Oakland. So Yankees would be playing Oakland. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wild card play each other. Duh.
So who wins the wild card?
Yeah. No, same thing though. Pitching, Tampa Bay wins.
Agree to disagree on that. I got the A's winning that.
The A's,
So then Yankees wild card team. I mean, that's a pretty straightforward decision. The Rays would win. No, I'm sorry. The Yankees would roll over them. Astros Twins. I think that'll be a really interesting ALDS. Who would you have coming out of that?
I've got the Houston Astros.
Dang. Okay. Wow.
I know that could be surprising.
With the Twins, dude. I'm rolling with the Twins. I got to roll with them, dude. They got to get over that hump. So you would have Yankees Astros. I would have Yankees Twins. Who do you have representing in the World Series?
I've got the Yankees.
Got the Yankees. Okay. Yep. I got the Yankees as well. I think Yankees Twins will be a really fun series. That was kind of the AL. Was that the ALCS last year? Or
Yankees,
no, that was the ALDS last year. Yankees Twins.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, it was tough to see the Twins kind of fall into their like spot and get in the groove. So I think like renewed season, 60-game season could be really fun. But I got the Yankees coming out.
It's gonna be crazy.
NLDS. So we got the wild card. I have Padres and Brewers. You have the Mets and the Nationals.
Mets and the Nats.
Wow.
And the Nats are winning that.
Yep. Okay, so I have the Brewers coming out of that.
Actually,
okay,
I forgot the Mets would have DeGrom going.
Ooh. Against the Nats, though.
Dude. Well, the thing is, I'm not sold on the Mets. I'm going to say the Nats because I'm not even sold on the Mets anyways.
Okay. So I would have
exactly what you want on a prediction night.
Right. So I would have Dodgers Brewers. You would have Dodgers Nats. Dodgers, you had Dodgers winning that as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Much
I think
better.
Brewers or Nats can make it interesting, but I mean, and we've already talked about the Dodgers postseason struggles. Praise the Lord for that. But I don't think they struggle in that way. Cardinals Braves rematch of the NLDS last year. What are your thoughts on that?
Braves, bro.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know they definitely. You worked them last year, but the Braves have improved.
Worked them. We put up 10 runs in the first inning, my guy. 10 runs in Game 5. Put them to sleep.
No, that's true. Do you think you guys are gonna win? You got that?
Oh, 100%, dude. Okay, so can I rant for a second?
Yeah, go.
Sit back and let me tell you all a little bit about the St. Louis Cardinals this year. I already mentioned that I think there are a couple of guys on our team in terms of the bats that are going to step up this year. One of them being Matt Carpenter. There's no way he's going to have a bad season like he did last year. You talk about even a guy like Dexter Fowler. I don't think he'll come into his own, but Tyler O'Neill is going to be our starting left fielder. Look out for him. You don't know the name yet, but you're going to soon. Tommy Edman, all he does is hit. Paul DeYoung, also one of the top shortstops in the league. Yadi Molina behind the plate. And our pitching rotation, y'all. Oh, my goodness. Jack Flaherty, Dakota Hudson, who was right behind Jack Flaherty in terms of stats in the second half of last season. People slept on him, continue to sleep on him. He's in the 300s in ranking in fantasy. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. One of the best pitchers in the National League. No cap. I'm serious. Dakota Hudson. Adam Wainwright, who's a veteran, has one more year left in his contract, probably retire for this year. He was balling out last year. I don't know if he'll do the same this year. Carlos Martinez is back into the starting rotation. Miles Michaelis, who's kind of like the fifth guy, who's kind of like, I'm not really a big fan of his. We'll see how he does. But then you got our relievers. Jordan Hicks, rest in peace to my brother. He's opting out to deal with his diabetes and recovery or whatever. And I don't all this different stuff going on. But we got a dude coming in from China. I don't even know how to say his name. His nickname's KK. He's going to be our closer. All I can tell you, dude, is I'm excited. He struck out the side today in our scrimmage, in the scrimmage that I saw. Woo! I am pumped to see that. And we got dudes coming off the bench. We have the DH spot. Matt Wieters, one of the best backup catchers in the league. Dylan Carlson, one of the best prospects in Major League Baseball. There are so many things happening. Harrison Bader is back to his normal ways in center field. He gets to get his bat going. There is no stopping us. By that point, 60 games, if we get enough of a streak, dude, the Braves will push us to 5 games. It'll be a 5-game series again, and it'll be another memorable fifth game. I don't think we'll put up 10 runs again like we did last year, even though that was beautiful. Oh, that was beautiful. We won't do that again, but Jack Flaherty will go. Tommy Edman will hit. Harrison Bader will steal bases. Yadi will throw people out. We are coming to the NLCS. You know what that NLCS is, Caleb? Give it to me. What's that NLCS?
Hold up. That NLCS is going to be the LA Dodgers, and I have the Atlanta Braves. You've got Cardinals.
The Dodgers and Cardinals meeting again in the playoffs, everybody. And listen good and listen well.
Oh, no.
Listen good and listen well. Until I see the Dodgers beat the Cardinals in the playoffs, regardless of team, I will not concede the Dodgers will beat us, ever. There is something about the Cardinals and the Dodgers in the playoffs that gives them the absolute yips. I'm telling you. Gives them the yips. Caleb, Mookie Betts or Cody Bellinger. I'm not going to say both. I'm not that blasphemous. Mookie Betts or Cody Bellinger will be missing in action that series. He's got no response to that because that is the effect the St. Louis Cardinals have on the last. Caleb, it's only the Dodgers. It's only the Dodgers. I'm not even kidding you. They cannot beat us in the playoffs. They can't. And especially recent, like the times that I joke, this is kind of a joke, kind of serious. The times we haven't been in the playoffs is the times the Dodgers have gone to the NLCS in the World Series. Like, I'm just telling you. Some of it's superstition, but some of it is actually just thinking about this. The St. Louis Cardinals have some effect on the Dodgers that no matter who's on the team, no matter how many superstars they have, no matter how good their pitching rotation is, no matter how good Clayton Kershaw is, every single time the postseason comes against the Cardinals, it falls flat. And I can't explain it other than the fact that I love it as a Cardinals fan. I love it as a baseball fan. And it is the most beautiful thing to be the underdog in a series, to be the underdog in a game where Clayton Kershaw is one hitting you, and in a matter of 3 hits, take the lead to go to the World Series that following game.
Brutal.
That I can't explain it other than that is the effect that my team has on one team. Caleb, one team. If this is the Braves in the NLCS, if this is the Nationals in the NLCS, if this is the Padres in the NLCS, I'm not going, oh, we got that effect on them. I'd be going, okay, like it'll be a good series. When it comes to the LA Dodgers, it's a no-brainer. We have their number year in and year out. Every time they meet in the playoffs, every time it goes to a crucial game, every time it comes down to the wire, we have their number. End of story. Drop the mic.
Wow.
That's it, man. That is the effect of a franchise on a team. That is the effect of a franchise on a outstanding pitcher, one of the best pitchers of all time, Clayton Kershaw, who looks like nobody when he plays the St. Louis Cardinals in the playoffs.
I mean, every year is a new year, and I wouldn't be too confident because reason being, you have never faced an offense like the offense you're going to face if you run into them in the playoffs. And
I don't know, man.
But I understand the pitching advantage, and you guys definitely have a pitching advantage. But when
I wouldn't even say that, but okay. Yeah.
You don't think you have a pitching advantage over LA?
I think it'd be equal with the Dodgers pitching rotation. I think it'd be neck and neck. But dude, just when it comes down to the wire of it, we have their number.
Yeah, it would be close.
Like it's crazy to think that Clayton Kershaw comes into those series pitching out of his mind. Like out of his mind and falls flat both times. 2013 LCS,
I mean, I think
2014 LDS. Those are 2 of the greatest pitching seasons of all time, Caleb. The Clayton Kershaw pitched, do you realize?
Yeah.
Of all time. Those 2 seasons, like, stand alone in the history of baseball. And he shows up to Busch Stadium in St. Louis and gets his butt waxed by the St. Louis Cardinals. Like, I loved it. I loved it.
We'll see. I just, like – I kind of have this feeling of like
baseball will be back, man.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
I have this feeling of the Dodgers are going to break through soon, and that doesn't necessarily mean win the World Series, but I mean break through against a team like that's given them fits in the past, like you. And you just think of how different their team is, even then 5 years ago. Now, but somehow they've still kept it. You know, just with these young guys they have, Gavin Lux and Dustin May. And just like, obviously, I think you have a slight advantage in pitching. Just thinking about Kershaw, Buehler, and May, I do think, there's not a big difference there when you kind of can rotate your top 3 pitchers in the postseason. But man, their lineup, and honestly, I hate to do this, but compared to yours, is like
I agree. Boy. I agree.
And I know
the Dodgers are going to come into that series the better team. They are.
Yeah,
they're going to come into that. We're not going to be a better team than the Dodgers coming into that. Hear that? We're not going to be the better team heading into that. But you know what? There's something about baseball. I mean, we talked about this earlier. There's something about the game of baseball is different from every other sport in the drama and the weight that games bring, where guys just don't show up. And it is very number. Yeah. I mean, you start giving up hits, you start giving up runs, you start striking out. What do? It's a 7-game series. It's not like, oh, man, I got it next month. It's a 7-game series. It's like you better pick it up fast or it's over. Or you'll strike out 7 times like Yasiel Puig. Like, dude, we had their number. And, it's different years, new teams. They got Mookie Betts. They got Cody Bellinger. They got Justin Turner and yada, blah, 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 blah. Just put up and shut up. 7-game series, Dodgers, Cardinals. Let's see what happens.
Wow. All right.
Let's see what happens. By the way, I have the Yankees winning the World Series. I'm not crazy. I'm not saying the Cardinals will beat the Yankees. I have the Yankees winning the World Series, which I think will be fun to see the Yankees kind of be put back on top, which they haven't in a while. But
that's fun?
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees haven't – if the Yankees are still winning –
point. We don't want them to win.
No, I don't hate the Yankees.
I have this Yeah, I have the same as well. I've got the Yankees winning it all. Again, it stands on them staying healthy. So that's a big question mark, seems to be for the Yankees. It'll be interesting to see how your guy, Carlson, your prospect, does. I think he's one of those guys that could come out of nowhere, kind of like the Luis Robert, where it's like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. I'm so excited for baseball to be back. 60 games, like we've talked about, it's going to be a different level of intensity. Kind of weird with no fans, but I'm ready for baseball. I'm ready to make a push. I'm just ready to be a contending team for once. I love baseball, and I want to love it because not just for the game and my team, but like because my team's actually winning. So
crazy part about all this, every team will go in with a chance of the playoffs, and by 15 games in, probably half those teams will be eliminated. That's how the 60-game season is going to work. It's like if you go on a losing streak, it could be all over. It could be all over, you know? Woo! So sorry
no
about
one's winning. No one's winning 50 games, by the way, as we had a hot take recently.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't
that's
see
not
that happening. I mean, the Dodgers are going to be good. The Yankees are going to be good. But nobody's going to win 50 games. That's crazy. So we appreciate you guys.
I can't myself. Go ahead.
Dude, baseball is back. So we are sorry for the long discussion on that, y'all. But we can't help ourselves when a sport is back and we're talking about it. You guys have probably already seen highlights of baseball. Our teams are playing today as this has come out. Like we are pumped. We are pumped for it to finally be back. So we're gonna finally head into our final segment of Double Dipping, where we drop our hot takes and just kind of leave you guys with some spicy stuff, some spicy nachos that we're dipping our chips into as we prepare for sports to be back. Because the next time you guys will see us after this, there will be a full week, Caleb. Take this in. The next time we have a podcast out publicly, there will be a full week of sports done. A full week of sports, of games that count. And I got tears rolling up my eyes, like legitimately just thinking about it. Unbelievable. So let's head into our final segment. We're going to head into Double Dipping. All right, welcome everybody back to Double Dipping for another edition, the 7th edition, which is crazy to think about. Seems like just yesterday we were starting this hot take segment where we try to get as hype as Caleb and I did when we were teammates. We hit back-to-back doubles, which reminds us of baseball again. Unfortunately, this isn't going to be a baseball hot take, but it is a hot take, Caleb. And it is one heck of a hot take. I was just thinking of it today as we're recording this morning, and it's about basketball. And it's about this upcoming Orlando bubble and the experiment that it is. I've already given my thoughts on the amount of teams that are there and yada, yada, yada. It is what it is now, and so we just deal with it. But it is part of it's a hypothetical of if something continues in the way that it does, and part of it's the fact that if this is what happens come playoff time, this is what I believe will unfold right before our eyes. And that is kind of a twofold of the magic of Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Okay? So here's my hot take, all right? So I did some research and kind of looked at the NBA standings right now. Caleb, the Dallas Mavericks are currently, as we sit, with the NBA starting tomorrow, as we're recording. So the NBA is already kind of got up and going as you guys are watching this now. Dallas Mavericks are the 7th seed. Okay? Dallas Mavericks are currently a playoff team. Well, if you think about the playoff seedings and what teams play what teams and who plays who in a 5-game, 7-game series, the 7 seed plays the 2 seed. Okay? Are you hanging with me so far?
I'm hanging with you.
The 2 seed right now, just as we sit, as the NBA started, is the Los Angeles Clippers. Okay?
Not beating Are you saying they're going to beat the Clippers?
If everything stays the way that it does, we are going to see right before our eyes a superstar come forward with some help and beat the Los Angeles Clippers in 6 games in the first round.
No, dude. No.
The Dallas Mavericks
It's not happening.
are about to show up, and they're about to make some more noise than, frankly, I think a lot of people have been willing to give them credit for. Here's why. Give me some statistics, give you some names. Just kind of let it marinate a little bit. So when we come back and the Mavericks are up 2-0 in the playoff series against the Clippers, we can actually talk about it.
Oh my goodness.
Luka Doncic. Can we just pause for a second and just talk about how much we love this man? He's one of the greatest personalities to ever touch an NBA basketball floor.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
He's great. I mean, he's a young guy. He's not even 20 years old yet, I don't think. He's just fantastic. I love his personality. I love his smile. I love his charisma. All this different stuff. Oh, by the way, he's in the top 5 in MVP voting, both last year and this year. He's a top 5 dude in terms of his talent.
You're saying he's a top 5 player?
Ooh, now we're getting dicey. Because season to season in terms of how they play. You and I had a discussion about this. I don't think he's better than Jason Tatum. So
that's crazy to me.
I think Jason Tatum still has an edge on him. Okay, it's a slight edge. This playoff series that I think might happen would put him over that, though. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm talking about Luka Doncic as someone who's still like on the rise as a top 10 player. If he does what I'm like giving a hot take that he's going to do, top 5 player instantly. Okay. 28.7 points per game. 9.3 rebounds, 8.7 assists. He's almost averaging a triple-double. You know another person to do that? Russell Westbrook. Guess what Russell Westbrook can't do? Shoot the basketball. Luka Doncic can do all those things and hit a step-back three-pointer from 35 feet. Dude is insane. Dude is incredible. Like I said, he's already got the great personality. He's already got the professionalism to it, and he's a great basketball player. So let me give you some names now. So you don't think I'm crazy of like, oh, yeah, the Dallas Mavericks are going to, they're just going to, surprise the world. I'm thinking reasonably about this, and here's why. Caleb, Kristaps Porzingis is on the Dallas Mavericks? A lot of people forget about that name. They forget about that name, and they only think of the Knicks, Kristaps Porzingis. He's balled out for the Mavericks this year. He hasn't been like this superstar player, but he's balled out for the Mavericks this year. You know who else is on the Dallas Mavericks? Seth Curry. Seth Curry is a spot-up shooter who came alive for the Blazers last year. Like came alive as like a knockdown shooter in the game in the NBA. Dorian Finney-Smith, who kind of goes under the radar as a great role player, great defender, great distributor of the basketball, feeds off Luka very well. Dwight Powell, who's one of their big guys, who's got a 40-inch vert and he's like 6'10". Like dude's crazy. He's got crazy hops. Tim Hardaway Jr., who came from the Knicks. People forgot about Tim Hardaway Jr., didn't put respect on his name because he played for the Knicks and played with a terrible franchise, and his play suffered because of it. He's come to the Mavericks, and he has stepped into a role beautifully. Okay? You watch highlights of the Dallas Mavericks. It's smooth, fluid basketball. Okay? And then, oh, by the way, we got to give some love to somebody else, and that is Boban. Boban Marjanovic. This dude is a legend among men. He's a legend of legends. 7'4", 7'5". He plays maybe 10, 12 minutes a game, but I love Boban. He's great. He's a great player. I mean, just because of his size, like he provides a great body down on the floor. Like I think any guy would take a 7'5" dude just have on the floor every once in a while. But Caleb, I mentioned those names. I mentioned Luka's stats already. I mentioned Luka's leadership as a guy less than 20 years old. Not even – he's not – he's younger than both of us. No, he's younger than both. He's 19 or 20. He came into the league when he was 18 years old. He's younger than both of us. And he's one of the best players in the NBA right now.
That's mind-blowing right there.
I think they're going to do it. I think that they are going to – and I had to make – so I thought, I was like, okay, who would guard who? Who would, all this different stuff. Dorian Finney-Smith, I think, would guard Kawhi, which Kawhi would torch him. But Dorian Finney-Smith would get some timely stops. He would. Luka would guard Paul George, which would be a great matchup to watch. Like, wow. It'd be a great matchup to watch. Seth Curry would guard Patrick Beverley or Lou Williams, which I think would also be fun because Seth Curry's kind of a dog in that way. Yeah. Tim Hardaway Jr. Would guard – who else is coming off their bench? I can't remember anybody. But Montrezl Harrell, Dwight Powell would guard Montrezl Harrell. And so you think about all these different pieces falling in place. Kristaps Porzingis would guard Montrezl Harrell. And so you have Dwight Powell guarding the big guy. All these pieces falling into place. You think about the bubble. You think about the unique environment that is. You think about that on any given night, you cannot have your good stuff. I love Luka Doncic. And if Luka Doncic does what I think he's going to do in these playoffs, namely upset a top 5 team, as we talked about last week, he's easily a top 5 player, easily surpasses Jason Tatum, easily becomes one of the new faces of the NBA.
Flip that around, though.
I think they can do that.
Yeah, I mean.
In 6, by the way. Let me just mention that one more time. He's not going 7 games.
Wow. I do not agree.
3-2, and Luka puts the dagger in him.
I think Luka's been really good. I'm not sold on their team, and I think Luka's still really young. Now flip that around though. Think about Kawhi on Luka. You think Kawhi would give Luka problems?
Think about that. Would Kawhi guard Luka, or would it be Paul George?
I mean, either one of them, really. I mean, Kawhi's a better defender than George, but
yeah, I think Paul George is a great defender too. But Luka is a mastermind with the basketball, man.
Well, let's put it this way too. Between Luka and Kawhi, who's better?
Luka and Kawhi. Oh, Kawhi.
Kawhi's
better than Luka.
Paul George and Kristaps, who's better?
Well, that's different because they play different positions, though. So you can't do that.
I'm just thinking, like, in terms of the number 2 guy on the team. I don't know. I just have to give it. I understand they do play different styles and everything, and different positions.
Well, I'll say this.
I just have to say the Clippers, especially with their 2 guys up there, and then put in Lou Williams, Patrick Beverley. I think they go both ways really well. Yeah. And the fact that Kawhi is that dude that has just come off a victory, leading his team to beating the Warriors. Sorry. I can't. I don't know. I can't
it's
get
unpopular.
on board.
It's unpopular. That's why it's a hot take. That's why I'm spicing things up. I'm not just saying that because I don't believe it. We'll do basketball. We'll do postseason NBA predictions like once they come out, once the playoffs are about to start.
Yeah.
Unless something drastically changes where I'm like, man, I have to think about that more. I'm picking the Mavericks. Like if it's 2-7, I'm picking the Mavericks.
All right.
I'm rolling with them.
There you go.
So there you go. Spice it up a little bit.
Yeah. So my hot take.
All right.
My hot take. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say what you got. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Go for it. What you got for me?
Yeah, my hot take takes us back to baseball. I can't get my mind off baseball right now.
Okay, love it.
And so I'm going there. Now, it's not a very concrete hot take. You'll have to work with me a little bit here. It's kind of got 2 parts, but I already gave one of them away. And this hot take has to do with the Houston Astros. And the first part of that hot take has already been revealed, and I think they're going back to the ALCS.
Okay.
I
don't think that's too far-fetched to think about.
Yeah, I think yes, they lost Garrett Cole.
Mm-hmm.
I think the amount that the cheating helped them has probably been a little bit overhyped. Now, where it's not is like you look at that game in the World Series against the Dodgers. I think it helped them. There are some games where I really do think it totally, completely changed the game. They probably don't win that World Series without that. But just the teams as a whole, I don't think that they're cheating, throughout every game of the season. And like we both said, I still think they're in a full season. I think they're a 100-win team. Still. So, anyways, the first part of my hot take is the Astros aren't going anywhere. They're going back, and plus they have something to prove this year.
Okay. You said the Astros aren't going anywhere at first, and I was like, wait a second. Did you just flip-flop from the ALCS to not making the playoffs?
No.
I was about to be like, okay, hold on a second.
Meaning they aren't going anywhere in terms of
right.
I did say
They'll
that.
They'll be in the same spot.
Yeah. So they're going back to the ALCS, I believe. And they've got something to prove. I mean, you think about those guys, probably the determination. I mean, it's a different level without the fans.
Yeah.
But these guys have something to prove this year that we can win without this help. And, their apology or what it was, whatever, we may have our opinions about that, a bit lackluster, different things. it doesn't matter. They're I'm sure they're here to play and to prove themselves now because of all the hate that they've taken. The second part of my hot take, and again, this isn't, I don't have a concrete place to stand on this, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal among other teams as well. Meaning, I don't think it's going to be a bean fest this year.
Whoa!
I think
that's like an overnight thing because you were like bean fest. Come on.
No, I actually think I mentioned this in an earlier, episode. I think a lot of teams are going to play it cool, and there might be a couple individual players that kind of got torched specifically by them, and maybe it'll happen here and there. But I honestly think it's going to be a disappointing season in terms of those that want to see the Astros take it this year. I think part of that has to do with COVID and the fact that I believe if you get within 6 feet of another player in confrontation, like in an argument, I believe it's an automatic fine. And so I know that's ridiculous, but I think that'll put a damper on it.
No, it's just really funny that you bring that up because it's like, if guys actually think about that, like they're going to punch an Astros player, they'll probably be like, "Oh wait, I can't."
Well, maybe it'll give them more reason to throw at him because they hit him in the ribs, like, "Hey, come and get me and get fined."
Bro, that would be really funny to watch if that ever happens, though. Because if they can't get into a fight, someone gets beat and they want to rush the mound, they just kind of waddle around each other, just like, hey, dude.
They chuck their helmet full of Bryce Harper. So that's kind of, I think the players will some time has passed, not to say that it's all been healed type of thing, but I think players will realize that, the punishment was not a whole lot, but just in terms of what they've taken from the fans, their reputation, I think players aren't going to be like, we all have to peg these guys. And I think it'll be a disappointing season in terms of the excitement of all the beanballs. I think it'll be actually pretty laid low. So I think Josh, when he came on, said that they'd set a hit by pitch record in just 60 games. I got to disagree. I think it's going to be relatively calm and it won't be a huge deal. Maybe I'll be wrong. But that's
I think I would disagree simply for the fact that in an exhibition game against the Kansas City Royals, who are like just this scrub team, they got hit in back-to-back.
Well, you know what? And maybe guys are gonna play it off like, oh, I pegged him and I didn't mean to.
Oops, yeah.
But watching those two hit by pitches too. I mean, the first one definitely wasn't a pitch at him. It was kind of one of those ones where you turn in and it hits your arm. Yeah, I don't see those and go like, oh yeah, he's like, they just look like inside fastballs that kind of ran in.
Yeah.
Again, maybe that's his intent. Oh, that's an inside fastball. But
yeah. Oh, whoops.
Also, so I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting because they're playing LA. That's one other thing I didn't mention. In terms of new things this season is they won't be traveling out of their region. So AL West will play. NL West will play their NL West teams and also AL West, like one or two series in each of those. So Central will stay Central, et cetera. So.
Yeah. I mean, all I can say is this, like, I hope that you're right about that. I mean, just for the sake of, like, enjoying baseball, like, I don't think anyone's like, hit him in the head. But I'll say this. If Aroldis Chapman gets heated,
bro, I mean,
somebody could get knocked out. Like, I'm dead serious. Like,
you think? That was the game, him against Altuve, and Altuve has to walk off, and Altuve's doing this thing, and I mean, Chapman's one of those guys. I mean, there's a few guys. Yu Darvish is kind of one of those guys that got tagged from that. There's a few guys that kind of would definitely have reason to be unhappy with those guys. So,
dude, that could get real interesting. Hopefully, it won't. Like, I agree with you. I don't think that'd be helpful at all. But yeah, I mean. Well, all we can say is this, Caleb. Baseball is back. Baseball is back. We've said it at least 10, 15 times. We don't care that we sound like a broken record because we're here.
Baseball's back.
Baseball's back. By the time you guys are watching this, Caleb and I are listening to hype music, getting all of our gear on, ready to watch our teams do battle all over again in a renewed season. So I want to thank you guys for watching, for tuning into another edition of Caleb and Caldwell. We've had some content put out recently. You guys saw Caleb and I kind of enjoy some vacation time. That was a lot of fun. Could be more stuff to come like that. You never know, but we'll see. Also got some content with my family coming out. I had a conversation with my dad and brother about just sports fandom and the Christian and what that looks like. So stay tuned for things like that. But more than anything, guys, we want to thank you for your support. Been seeing a lot of stuff and just reactions on social media and stuff like that. We'll be responding to you guys a lot more frequently. Caleb and I have been talking about a lot of even Q&A stuff and hearing from you guys more. So lots of things in the woodwork. But this is a lot of fun. Caleb and I really enjoyed this. It's been quite a journey, and now sports are back, so you get to have fun ranting and going off about all this stuff. Caleb, any final words on baseball, your team, basketball? I mean, by the time we record again, sports will be in full swing again.
We've said it 1,000 times. I'll make it 1,001. Baseball's back, and I can't wait.
Come on.
Look out for the Padres this year. They're coming. Remember the name, Mackenzie Gore, Fernando Tatis Jr. We're ready. I'm so ready. Browns back. Padres are back. Baseball's back. Let's do it.
Hey, if you did that, Jack Flaherty is going to be the Cy Young this year. Yadier Molina is going to find his stroke and become one of the unsung heroes of baseball as he becomes pretty much on the cusp of retirement. Harrison Bader, Tommy Edman, Matt Carpenter, we're coming. And if the Dodgers and Cardinals meet in the playoffs again, see you, LA. That's all I got to say. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Caldwell.
I'm Caleb.
And we'll talk to you guys later. God bless.